Hello everybody and welcome to SnackTube. So, today, seeing as I'm a British man living in Britain, we're going to have ourselves a traditional British dinner. So, when you think of Britain and the foods that we eat, what sort of things do you think of? Fish and chips, yeah. Chicken tikka masala, very popular over here. No. Plenty of quintessential British meals, but none more quintessential than the Yorkshire pudding. I suppose on its own, the Yorkshire pudding's not a meal, but just a part of a meal. But of course, the big part of that meal would be your roast dinner. Quite frankly, I would never have a roast dinner without Yorkshire puddings. They're the best bit. They go with anything. They go with the gravy, they go with the turkey or the beef or the pork or whatever you're having. You know, you can use them to mop up the vegetables, give the vegetables a bit more flavour, or just make them actually taste nice. So, what I've gone for today is I've gone for a big Yorkshire pudding. Now, the meal itself, as you'll see here, is the meal for one beef-filled Yorkshire pudding, and that's from Iceland. And as you can see, that cost me one of our great British pounds. So, there's your picture to start you off. That's what it should look like. Looks fairly appetising, you know. I think that looks quite nice, to be honest. So that's got cooked beef silverside with vegetables and gravy with a Yorkshire pudding. Pretty straightforward stuff. Now, this, I have to say, was one of the more awkward ready meals that I've ever had to make. I don't know if it counts as a ready meal, really. It just says on the box it's a meal for one and not a ready meal. But you have to cook the different parts separately. So the beef, the gravy and the vegetables all come in a wee pouch. And that I had to put in the microwave on a plate for 6 minutes. And then the Yorkshire pudding has to go in the oven, a preheated oven, for 6 minutes. So same amount of time for cooking, but you've got to preheat the oven, which kind of takes away the whole point. If I'm going to do that, I might as well just make some roast beef and some good Yorkshire puddings, boil up some vegetables in a pot. But nevertheless, this was only £1. We fired it on and it's sitting right in front of me. It's right under my nose. The most annoying thing, though, when I made the gravy pouch, so I put that on a plate, luckily, rather than just putting it straight into the microwave. But the gravy, because you poke some holes in the bag so the heat gets through it, the gravy has now covered the plate. So what I'm left with on this plate now, because I put the Yorkshire pudding on the plate and then put the filling into the Yorkshire pudding as it describes in our serving suggestion right here. But now I've got a soggy bottom. My Yorkshire pudding has a soggy bottom, I should say, because now just the plate is covered in gravy. I could have washed the plate first or used a second plate, but where's the convenience in that? That means I just have to wash another plate later, which I don't want to do. So we've got our utensils as are needed because we can't eat this with our hands. I suppose we could, but it would be awkward. So, once again, there's your picture for comparison. That's what it looks like on the box. Very appetising. And now the reveal. Let's see what it looks like after it has been cooked in the microwave/oven. Now, see, from that angle, that doesn't look too bad. Of course, the gravy on the bottom of the plate is about to drip off, so I need to put that down. But if I show you it over here, don't know if that really works, but that gives you a sort of a view of the Yorkshire pudding. I mean, it doesn't look awful, but it doesn't look great. It doesn't smell fantastic. It sort of smells, I don't know, more like an onion gravy than a beef gravy, which I'm less a fan of. But I'm guessing that's just because it's got all the vegetables through it. And the vegetables have sort of flavoured the gravy, which me personally, I'm not a huge fan of. If I'm having gravy, I would rather make vegetables and then pour real gravy on top. That way, the vegetables taste like the gravy, not the other way around. But if we examine our meal here, so the Yorkshire pudding, it's sort of crispy, it's a wee bit floppy. There's a lot of vegetables in here. Now, the beef, I haven't tasted it yet, so I don't know what it tastes like, but that's our beef there. That's And that's it. So that is the amount of beef that you get. So that sort of amounts to, if you sort of break it down, well, it's one long slice of beef. It's quite hot, but that's it. That's all the beef you're getting for £1. Now it's only £1, so I'm not complaining, but you call this a meal for one. If you had a roast dinner, and that was all the beef you got, would you be happy with that? Of course you wouldn't. You should never have more vegetables than beef unless most of those vegetables are deep fried or oven roasted potatoes. But I digress. That's the only bit of beef I've got. So I'll have to give that a try. Now, I just realised I just ate a carrot. Normally I like to wait and try everything and sample it at once, but I'm hungry. So, enough with the chatter. Let's grab our utensils. Let's dive right in and give this a try. So this is our meal for one beef-filled Yorkshire pudding. Let's go for it. So I'm going to try and cut out a bit of the Yorkshire pudding. And that way I can have a little bit of everything all together. Okay, so that's a bit of our Yorkshire pudding with the vegetables and a bit of beef on it. So we'll leave that there for just now, but let's try the veggies first. So we've got carrots and peas in here. Okay, that's interesting. Let's try a little bit of the beef just on its own. Interesting. Gathering my thoughts. Let's try just a little bit of the Yorkshire pudding on its own. Of course, it's covered in the gravy. Last but not least, before we give our verdict, let's try a mouthful of everything all together. So I'm watching the football over here as well. Liverpool are playing Norwich, and Norwich just scored. Sorry, that's got nothing to do with food. Okay, well, for £1, you can't complain too much. It's not bad. The gravy's very sweet, so the whole thing's got this air of sweetness about it, which I'm not... I wouldn't say I'm offended by it. I wouldn't say I'm against it necessarily. It's not bad, but I would prefer a bit more savoury in my gravy, to be honest with you. The Yorkshire pudding itself is cooked through. You know, the Yorkshire pudding itself is actually quite nice. It's hard to screw up a Yorkshire pudding. I mean, it's just like eggs and flour, I think. Some other stuff maybe beat together and then cooked in the oven. So it's quite nice. The edges themselves are pretty crispy. That's what you want, a nice crispy edge and a more doughy centre. That sort of works. That's pretty nice. The beef, I wouldn't say is particularly fantastic. I mean, it's very, very thin, so you don't get a lot of texture to it. It sort of just falls apart, which is okay. It's not bad. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that you don't get a lot of flavour because it doesn't really stay there for very long, so you don't really taste it much. It's just kind of present. And given the fact that you don't really get that much, it can barely count as a beef Yorkshire pudding meal. You know, I mean, most of this is all carrots and peas, and then the Yorkie. The carrots and the peas, Carrots. If you make carrots well, if you do them properly, and if like boil them or do them in the oven properly or whatever, they should soften up quite nicely. But these are still pretty crunchy, which I don't like from a cooked carrot. If I was eating raw carrot, crunchy carrot is fine, but when it's cooked I don't like that. And the peas are just peas, there's nothing that special about them. When you microwave any vegetable, they don't come out that great. I would much rather just boil them in a pot or cook them in the oven or something, but they came in that pouch, so they were there for the microwaving. Yeah, so overall, I would say it's very mediocre. I don't think I would buy it again. I think if I was gonna do this again, I would just spend the money and buy some actual mini Yorkshire puddings and get some good roast beef, like from the deli counter, or just from the cold meat section or something, and you can heat that up. And then just make some Bristol gravy or something. I would just do that. And I always have frozen vegetables in the freezer anyway, so I would just sort of chuck whatever variety of vegetables I wanted myself. Rather than just having the peas and the carrots, I could have broccoli or sweet corn or something like that. Something, whatever I fancy at the time. So I think I would just rather do that. It takes a little more time, but really not enough for it to matter. So I would just do that instead. Yeah, it's disappointing that it doesn't have a lot of the beef, because that's the main event, I would say. I suppose it's a Yorkshire pudding meal for one, but without the meat, a Yorkshire pudding becomes a little bit pointless. But the Yorkshire pudding's cooked nicely. It's not bad. It's okay. I would say it's not worth trying. I probably will never get this again. And but it's okay. It fills the gap. But the whole point the whole point of buying a meal like this, like a meal for one type thing, is that you should be able to just cook it all in one go, or cook it with one appliance. So you fire it all in the oven, or you just fire it all in the microwave. And maybe if you have to do it one bit at a time for the microwave, that's not too bad a thing. But this, I had to use the oven and I had to use the microwave. So if I didn't have one of those things, I'm knackered. So I can't just take this with me to my student dormitory. But yeah, that's about it. It's okay. That was my review for the beef-filled Yorkshire pudding meal for one from Iceland. £1 at a good Iceland near you, or maybe just a shit one. But yeah, that's all for my review for today. So thank you very much for watching. I know it's been a long one, and if you've made it all the way to the end, I appreciate that. Please subscribe, hit the bell if you want to get notifications anytime one of my videos comes out. And of course, you can follow me on Facebook, but I mostly do stuff on Instagram. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, that's where you'll really find me doing all of my posts and letting you know about anytime a new video comes out. So thank you very much for watching. Also, you can check out my other channel if you want, Matty Make High. There's a link in the description box below. Yeah, and just stay around, hang about, stay with me, hang out with me, be my friend, and watch some more of my videos. I appreciate it. All right, thank you. I will see you in the next video. You all take care. Don't know why I did that. I'm not Anne Robinson, fuck's sake.